Anyone familiar with my channel knows of my love-hate relationship with the Game Gear. When I picked one up in my youth, I could only find turd balls like Beavis and Butthead and X-Men Game Master's Legacy, but in recent years I got actual copies of good games like Sonic Triple Trouble and Shining Force, Sword of Hadja. So I figured, why not see if there's any noteworthy titles that stayed in Japan? When looking into 8-bit relics for the NES that stayed in the land of the rising sun, I found true gems like Bio-Miracle Bakute Upa and dried-up crusty-ass turds like Final Fantasy II. This could go either way. So to start off, since a certain Magic Schoolgirl returns next year, let's have a look at Sailor Moon S. Say, that's a great 8-bit rendition of Moonlight Densetsu. Almost as good as the title screen for DuckTales on the NES. But I got a sneaking suspicion it'll all be downhill once I actually play the game. Okay, Usagi's sprite is pretty big, but the animation is quite nice. Oh, and I love how Usagi shows as much of her vagina as possible with each kick, because that's why us guys tuned in as kids. It wasn't the superhero team action or the slapstick humor, we just wanted to see panty shots. Oh shit, it's that cat girl that shatters into puzzle pieces and reassembles like the T-1000. Oh, this may take a while. She'll be coming back any second now. She's not coming back, is she? Ugh. Let this showcase not only how this game doesn't utilize its source material, but how simplistic and easy the game is. This is quite possibly the most insultingly easy platformer I've ever come across. And when it comes to finding the talismans, the goal of half the third season, you just walk to the ends of the first two stages in a world. No need to extract them from someone's heart or anything, they literally just fall from the sky into your lap. At the end of the third stage, you'll come across one of the Witch's 5. Oh fucking shit, it's Udial! Oh crap, and the animation's got that fucking huge wicked-ass flamethrower that really fucked shit up. I better be ready for the flames of hell itself to rain down and... Are you shitting me? Instead of a flamethrower, all Udial can do is queef out a blood-soaked baseball at me? Veloy is nerfed even worse. Her weapon in the anime, nanomachines that'll eat your ass alive. In this game, an equal sign. Yes, for this game, Veloy will have to use... math! One of the few times this kinda, sorta felt like an actual game was this part of the Fourth World, where you keep going up a construction site. But it's like Bella's classic truck in the first Twilight movie. One little thing to liven things up a bit. A bad analogy, actually, because at least I never felt Twilight insulted my intelligence! Hell, Little Mermaid on the NES was better than this. Sure, it too was an overly easy game aimed at girls, but it had depth. The levels were fun to navigate, power-ups and bonus items to collect, a simple joy. The only hidden stuff here is the third talisman on every third stage, which isn't that hard to find. This'll let Usagi transform into her super form, which triples her attack power, because nothing is more powerful than the elbow from a Japanese schoolgirl, except an Apache helicopter. The only extras here are some mini-games, such as what looks like a trivia game I could sadly ace if I understood Japanese. There's some bullshit with the Lunar P where I lose instantly, something horribly reminiscent of Hotel Mario, and this game where you gotta match up faces. Ah, come on! Uranus and Neptune are lesbian soulmates! I get no points for matching them up?! And don't get me started on how the most awesome lesbians ever aren't even playable in a game based on the season focusing on them. Here, the only other character available is Chibiusa. Screw it. Let's just finish the last stage, which has those two witches that work in tandem, can't ever remember their damn names. Hang on. This is now the best part of the game, seeing Usagi cry like a little bitch. Okay, next up is Kalia Knight. Kinda teleports around like Dracula, though it's harder to get yourself in position. But she'll go down eventually, and then we should be up against... Hang on a second. That's it? There's no fight against Mistress 9? Season 3 was like the anime equivalent of the Dark Phoenix saga, seeing as how Mistress 9 was actually Sailor Saturn, and you don't even fight her? Sure, Usagi didn't really have much of a bare-knuckle blast-a-thon with her, but to not even show her in a cutscene? Bandai, you really fucked it up this time. Yeah, Bandai. All in all, this was one of the great 8-bit moments in gender equality. Liberating a dream dimension, infiltration of a space pirate research base, bitch-slapping a cat girl at a circus. Fuck this. So what else is there? Well, since we're on the subject of chicks leading the charge, let's have a look at Lunar Walking School, a guiding game to the main series. This will actually be my first stab at a Lunar game, because I've always held out hope of getting the actual Sega CD games. Yeah, just like how I knew one day I'd fetch a TurboGrafx CD with copies of East 1 and 2 and Rondo of Blood, then just got both on Virtual Console. The plot focuses on level-headed redhead Ellie and shrimpy loudmouth Lena, who were chosen to attend the Aeon magic school, the latter only convinced because of free room and board. Once on the island, however, things immediately take a creepy turn, as the town with the school is abandoned, and the prospective new recruits must fend for themselves. Plus there's an ostentatious asshat with two flunkies always mucking things up. It's like Harry Potter, with more estrogen and a darker edge right out of the gate. The gameplay has been compared to the relatively fast-paced, turn-based combat seen back in the original Dragon Quest, and I'm forced to agree. Things do tend to move at a brisk pace once the girls got their objective and are on their way. One thing can really break up the action, however. Since it's a plot revolving around a magic school, there's no weapons to buy. Most damage will be dished out with magic spells, and eventually, your party's MP will be depleted. So the gals must get MP back via walking, right? Wrong! To replenish MP without items, you merely stand still. For me, this really broke up the flow worse than any message about horrible times for a curse ever could. Things are moving along just fine, sometimes your objective right in view, but then you gotta stop and wait for your MP to refill. Speaking of what's in view, it was kind of annoying how the camera won't let you see more than a few paces ahead while you're moving. Given how labyrinthine the latter third of the game can be, this makes navigation a lot more cumbersome than it needs to be. Another bit of fuckness? You don't learn new magic spells on your own, but must get them from teachers once you've leveled up enough. Suppose I reach the required level while in enemy territory. A lot of good it'll do me then! Having girls as the lead seems to extend into how the narrative is handled. Much like shoujo manga in Japan, the focus is more on the relationships built between characters, rather than conquering an external threat. All fine and dandy, except no real effort seemed to go into developing motivations or a backstory for the Vile tribe as a result. They honestly felt like villains in a Care Bears cartoon, simply there because the heroes needed someone to pimp smack around. All these gripes aside, the game is still fun to play. You can save anywhere, and coupled with the brisk pace and division into 12 chapters, this was well suited for portable gaming back in the day. What really keeps this RPG as a whole slightly above average is the dialogue and character interaction. Lena's lines are simply comedy gold, from accusing the big bads of pedophilia to being snarky about Eleonora getting kidnapped yet again! I suppose my only real complaint is how, yet again, it seems that a game geared at girls is way too easy. Being able to refill MP by standing in place exacerbates the problem. Just have Lena heal everyone up and wait for MP to recharge. Also, once your party learns offensive magic with enough oomph, gameplay balance is pretty much gone. Seriously, the final boss was the only time I needed to use any recovery items, just to refill magic mid-fight. Dozens acquired throughout the game, and I only needed one! On top of that, the game puts way too much emphasis on how Ellie and Lena have to overcome sexism. On top of the Draco Malfoy-ish rival, there's a martial arts instructor that's always crowing about the need to be a real man. One mission even requires your party to fetch a literal man card from said instructor's training cave. Oh, and the first professor willing to instruct the two girls? Guess what he specializes in? Cosmetics. I shit you not. There's even mention of going shopping. Shopping! There's absolutely nothing wrong with women being front and center in video games, but by putting so much focus on having to bust gender stereotypes, I feel this defeats the purpose. Look at the original Phantasy Star, which shows off a teenage girl in a pink skirt on the title screen, and then you're thrown into the game. The game doesn't dwell on whether it's proper for such a girl to lead a planet-hopping quest for bloody revenge. At least Landale just doesn't. But we're talking about 8-bit games here. I'm sure that in the years leading up to 2012, developers have learned how not to objectify and alienate would-be female consumers, right?